That's Drew.
And that's Mike.
And that's Levi Kelly.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Great, man. Well. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So for our listeners, Levi Kelly is a videographer who's built his YouTube channel around awesome Airbnb and tiny home tours, minimalism, and home renovation. His library of 129 videos has earned him 257,000 subscribers and over 26 million views. If you're looking for the coolest Airbnb to stay in or some great inspiration for a home project, follow the links in the description to his channel and be sure to check out some of his minimalist merch for the homies. And once again, Levi, thanks so much for your time today, man.
There we go. Thanks for having me again. Excited.
Yeah, it's always fun. Well, we record on Mondays, but every week we get to talk about YouTube with someone who's been super successful on YouTube, someone like yourself this week. So let's not start with talking about YouTube. Let's talk about growing up. So you grew up and are still based in Ohio. What are some of your favorite pastimes of growing up in Ohio?
Man, I've grown up in Southern Ohio, Chillicothe, Ohio, to be specific. First and third capital, by the way. But I enjoy it. This is definitely, I would say, rural Appalachia area, and that's what I enjoy: being outside in the nature, the rolling hills, four-wheeler riding or fishing, stuff like that. I don't look like a typical, I would say, outdoorsman, but I do enjoy that stuff a lot. Or I grew up in downtown a lot, so I like to ride skateboard around downtown, go to the park. And that's really what I did. In high school, I was in a band, played music for a while, and picked up a camera and made goofy videos all throughout high school. That was really all I did.
Yeah, that's all. That's it. That's pretty eclectic, though. That's a pretty wide variety of things, especially playing music. I started playing music in high school, too. How'd you pick up? You play guitar, right?
Yeah, I play guitar. My friends were really into music, and we started kind of a small Christian band. And we played at summer camps and winter retreats and stuff like that around Ohio. And that was really fun. I enjoyed that a lot.
What was
Have
it?
you been able to keep up with that at all more recently?
No, ever since we kind of gotten older and we went to college, gone different ways, but we're still all great friends. It's just we kind of dropped that. My friend still, he's a worship leader and he's really into music right now still, so he kept with it. I didn't.
What was it that led you to music? Yeah, no, go.
What was that?
What was it that led you to start playing music?
It was in middle school when I started, and I thought it was cool, like all the cool kids did it. So I picked up a guitar, and my best friend, he played piano, so he was always into music. So that was something we really started to connect on. And then a couple other of my friends were into music, and it just kind of flowed from there.
It's a good thing to get friends together and just hang out, jam.
I miss doing that, actually. I miss playing live music a whole lot.
Yeah, Drew's very
live music's fun.
And you guys seem like you have a lot of artistic output also with videography. How did you get into that? It seemed like you started getting into that in high school as well.
Yeah, I got into that in high school. I really just wanted to start making goofy videos. I would see some SNL skits or some YouTube videos that I wanted to recreate myself. So I just started playing with it on my phone. And then after a couple times, I really got into it. So then I got a camera, a really beginner camera, to start taking video. And then that even amplified it even more. And I just loved it. So I started taking photos as well. So it was photography and videography. And then eventually started getting a few gigs, got paid for it and stuff like that. And ever since then, I've been doing it and I love it.
What was the first camera?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. What was the first camera that you got?
It was a Nikon 3300 or something like that. 3200 is like a $400, $300 camera. And I didn't know anything. There's so many cameras to choose from. I didn't know anything. So I just chose the cheapest one and the one that looked like the camera that professionals use. Like there's that look, the black body. I tried to pick one like that and I thought that was a good one. So, and I thought it was at the time. So it worked out.
You got to start somewhere, man.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. It's first on the phone. Just went into my phone.
I mean, Mr. B started on a phone. Anyone else can too.
Oh, yeah. Look at him now.
He's doing okay. Drew, you had a question?
Yeah. Your first uploaded video on your channel is "The Fidget Spinner Never Dies," and I found it hilarious. is that your first entry into recreating those silly videos that were your inspiration? And if not, where can we find some of those earlier videos?
No, that video is one of the later ones. My first videos, man, I don't even know where they're at now. My first videos are so old, but I think my first video on YouTube was a vlog, but it's now been privatized. I probably have like 50 videos privatized on my YouTube from the very beginning. They're horrible.
We see that as a common trend, especially with people who've broken larger thresholds, like at 250 plus thousand. There are videos that don't align with the current branding, so they hide them. But
Exactly.
I still think that there's merit to seeing those. I would love. I also laughed a lot while watching the fidget spinner video. I thought it was actually very well done. I was going to ask about that a little later on too. It's very good.
That's funny.
So, small town Ohio. I thought that you described growing up in a small town very well on Twitter, and you tweeted almost exactly 2 years ago on 2/21/2019. What's the worst thing about Chillicothe?
Yeah, Chillicothe.
Chillicothe. Okay. Trying to explain to outsiders, Krispy Kreme is not Krispy Kreme. Can you explain that to me?
So yeah, in Chillicothe we have a Krispy Kreme donuts, but it's not the chain Krispy Kreme with K's. It is a local thing with C's. It's Krispy Kreme with two C's, and it is the best donut shop in the entire world, I think. And everybody I think in Chillicothe agrees. So explaining to everybody, oh yeah, Krispy Kreme's the best. And they're like, is it? Yeah, I guess. And I'm like, no, not the chain. Not what you're thinking of. Trust me. That's annoying.
Do they have a sign there that when it's on, that means the donuts are hot?
Yeah, basically. I believe in the very beginning, I believe ours was the first, and he was partnered with the owner of Krispy Kreme's with the K, and they split. And then that's how it happened, because our donut shop was way back in the early 1900s as well, whenever Krispy Kreme started. I'm pretty sure something like that happened.
Whoa. Huh. Oh, and then he probably had to change it to K's to get away with trademarking or some kind of.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. That's pretty cool. I like that. That's got some history to a small town. And it's always interesting when you find those little niches that you have to kind of explain growing up in small towns like that. I always had the same thing about Wawa. I don't know. Have you ever been to Wawa?
No.
Exactly. So it's great, so but you sound stupid explaining it because it's a gas station, but it's not just a gas station. It's more of an experience. Yeah. So this is exactly the thing. So you kind of sound a little weird, but Wawa's now a national chain. They're huge now. So they definitely didn't split from a small one like that. But I drew myself very closely to the explanation of a small town. I thought you did a good job. That's
hilarious. Thank you. Yeah, I think small towns are great.
They are. You get a lot of culture, a lot of great people, a lot of and I will say, your specific small town. The articles that I read about you, they're very, very passionate about you. They are very. I've seen a lot of articles about like how you are. The town is very proud of you, which is pretty cool.
Wow. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's pretty small. I think it's only like 20,000 people. So, you always bump into people that you see around the area. Mm-hmm. It's the smallest, or it's the largest town south of Columbus besides Cincinnati. So, in Ohio.
Yeah, that's
a large small town.
Good size though, still.
Yeah.
So, after you graduate high school, you take a leap of faith to become a freelance videographer, right? Yeah. That's a pretty bold move where most people are going the collegiate route and you're starting a business. How did you determine that that's the next course of action for you? As well as where did you get the kind of, I'll say like guts to just say, hey, I've got enough backing, or I've done this enough times, so this is what I'm going to do as my job.
Yeah, it definitely was gutsy. I started at a community college in Chillicothe. I went there for a couple semesters, but I had the intentions of transferring to Ohio University for their screenwriting and production program. But you have to get accepted and apply to it. And I did for my second year, and I did get accepted, but that was whenever I decided to not go, because during that first year of college, I was already getting some freelance jobs that I thought that I really enjoyed. And I was like, well, if this is what I want to do, why would I leave? If this is what I want to do, why would I leave these jobs to go work more into school? So I just continued working locally with some of these jobs. And I had some really good connections outside of Chillicothe that was in like the film industry, like Zach Dalton. He works on short commercials and short films and stuff. And I had a really good connection there. So, and I thought I could branch out really nicely from there. And it worked out for what it was.
How did you build up that business from the ground up? Like, how did you establish those connections in the first place and start getting clients? How did you first put yourself out there?
Yeah, well, in a small town, I think it is pretty easy on my end because there's not a lot of competition, and people, businesses, and a lot of people always need photos and video, especially now with all the social media stuff. So there wasn't a lot of competition on my end, and I just took any job that came at me. Either I did a ton of free stuff and then eventually started charging like really cheap, and then just worked up from there. So I think I'm blessed that I was in a small town because I feel like I wouldn't even know what to do if I was in a large city. Like I don't even know how to start because there's so much happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe even the perception of, since there's so many other people doing the same thing and all the businesses are used to already paying for the service, why would they go to someone who's starting? Like, I got a guy, I know this guy, he charges this much. I already know what it's worth. I'm just going to pay to get it done right the first time and not have to deal with the potentially taking a risk on someone who might even be just free.
Exactly. Yeah. Even if a lot of people don't like free work because a lot of times it does suck. So that's that as well.
Yeah. It's a risk on both parts, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is an interesting. So now you're growing the business, and that's probably what gave you a great base for what you do from an editing, photography, and filming perspective on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, that work, and I did freelance stuff for like 3 or 4 years or so, and all of that work, because I shot and edited everything during that time, that definitely helped me build up my skill, I would say, creating videos and taking photos. And I really liked the craft of beautiful images and beautiful video, so I really worked hard on that during those years. And story is everything though, but I really worked hard towards the way it looked and the flow of things. So I think during those years, it really helped me out and helped me maybe stand out a little bit on YouTube.
Yeah, you had a significant shift in your channel. But actually, let's wait till we get that. So there's another passion that you have in your life, which is traveling. And sometimes I think one of the curses of small towns is people get stuck in small towns and never leave them. You seem to have been blessed with the opportunity to get out. Where did that travel bug come from, and where was your first kind of experiences that got you into the world of travel?
Yeah, great question. I always like to follow travel people on the internet, on Instagram and stuff, and I wanted to go to places they all went because I thought it was so cool. And my original intention and goal was to be like a travel photographer, a travel videographer somehow in some way. So that was my goal. And then, eventually, whenever saved up enough money, some of my first trips, I went out to like Michigan, northern Michigan, with a couple buddies, and we just took photos and never made money off of any of it. But we spent all week up there taking photos. And then I went out to California one time, and that was really game changing, I would say, because it was totally different. And it was like my first time traveling really far away from home. And I actually had one small gig out in California, which was really, I guess, eye-opening for me and the potential that this camera has. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
You're fine.
you can cough. It's a natural thing. We're not the Joe Rogan experience. We don't have the cough button.
I'm kind of curious what that project was that you were just talking about that sort of changed your perspective on what a camera could do.
It was just a small jewelry company out in California, and I didn't make a ton of money off of it, but I was like, this camera is letting me travel a little bit, and I can make money outside of Ohio. So I was like, man, this is endless. If anybody has a camera, you can literally do whatever you want, really.
You say endless too, and I don't want to get ahead of myself again because I feel like I'm doing this like this probably the third time. But you really have stumbled upon another endless opportunity with where your channel has led, because there truly is no bound for where you can go with Airbnbs. You could, you have been blessed with the location with what's that, the city? There's like
Chillicothe?
No, there's a
Hocking Hills.
That's it.
Oh yeah.
That area is like flush with amazing Airbnbs, and now, but that once you expand, you can go to California, you can go to Colorado, like you've done, and California. You can go to Europe, you can go to Asia, you can go to South America, and it can never end. So it's another amazing opportunity that you've taken advantage of, and it's all based on this little camera, right?
Yeah, yeah. With that mindset, I always try to think of something that I can do long term. That's not just like a season, and I have to change and figure something else out. What's something that I can do that will always be there? And homes and beautiful homes and vacation is always there. And nobody's experienced the entire world, so got a whole lifetime.
And everyone's always striving for vacation. It's what people say. They work hard so that they can take a vacation, and you're just showing them what the potential opportunities can be.
Exactly.
So you also, so let's ask one question before the next one. What was your first Airbnb experience?
My first one was actually out in California on that first trip I went to. It was just a bedroom in a house. It was like you could rent 3 bedrooms in this house, and me and my buddy just rented one of the bedrooms, and that was really interesting, I thought. And it was slightly cheaper than a hotel. I don't know what made me do it. I thought it was cool. Like, oh, I'm staying in this house in California, not a hotel. And I thought it was cool. And then I started to see like what other people are putting on Airbnb. I'm like, dang, you can rent an entire house on Airbnb. Like, who wouldn't do that? Who would want to go to a hotel compared to a house for a leisure trip? So it started there.
Yeah. Was that a big aha moment for you? Like, was that like, or was it just like, oh, I'm just using this as the medium to get to the place I need to go? Or was it like you stayed there and you're like, oh man, this is like, I could make a YouTube channel about this, or I could change my YouTube channel?
No, I never thought of it at that trip. I didn't really start thinking about creating a YouTube channel on that trip. It was probably a year later, maybe, I stayed in a tiny house in Kentucky for the first time on Airbnb. And I went there solely to go check it out because I thought tiny houses were super cool. So I went down there and checked it out, and I filmed it. And that was my first Airbnb tour on my YouTube channel. And I fell in love with that kind of. I thought it was so cool. I was like, man, people actually do this, and I love this.
That's pretty interesting. So it's never like sometimes it's just comes back later on. So the other thing that I kind of want to talk about in your past is you have an amazing presence on camera. Like you've made yourself a personality, and you guide people through, and you're not shy or anything on the camera. So where did that skill come from?
You know, I feel like I'm a pretty laid back person in real life. I'm not one of those people that's like really in your face, which I feel like those type of people are good on camera. So with me, I think it's just having the camera and making really goofy videos in high school or in college, just being dumb in front of the camera to make people laugh. I think that's what made me really comfortable in front of the camera. And I spent a lot of time, you know, filming other people and seeing how they get really nervous in front of the camera. And I think it's easier to talk to an inanimate object than a human. So it kind of just flows a lot easier for myself.
Yeah. I mean,
and I know I can cut it later on. Like I know if I mess up, oh, who cares? Because nobody will ever know.
Yeah, you can cut it in post, and you're the only one who knows the the mistake that was made.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's a pretty good way to look at it. So then you start your when you're going to California, which seems to be a big moment in the timeline. Was that before you started your YouTube channel, or had you started your YouTube channel after that?
No, that was before I started my YouTube channel. I started my YouTube channel the day I moved out of my parents' house and into my own apartment, and I made the dedication of uploading consistently until something happens. Like I wanted to create a big YouTube channel. That was my goal.
And how did you envision your channel being? Like what was your vision for your brand, or sort of what online personality you might be, or what you would build your channel around?
Yeah, well, with no audience, I thought I can do anything. So I'm just going to do stuff that I like, and it's just going to be random stuff. And I was hoping eventually one of the videos will get some attention, and that was really my goal. I'm just going to create whatever I like, and whenever one of them sticks with something, I'll kind of shift towards that maybe a little more, or reevaluate my next videos and see how they can be better. And that happened a couple times. When I first started, I had a couple videos about like my wardrobe or like minimalism. I got like 20 or 30,000 views. So I kind of started making more videos about minimalism, but I wasn't really a minimalist. So it was kind of weird. And I did that for like 8 months.
And then you made that, was it the box top Airbnb tour, the first Airbnb that you went to in Kentucky? Was that the one that you were mentioning previously?
No, that the box top was the third Airbnb tour I did.
Okay.
I did 2 tiny houses before that.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And they didn't really do, they were just performing as usual. My channel, you know, a couple hundred views. So I didn't really think anything of it, but I enjoyed it.
And then you had that box top one, and you have a follow-up video about the box top one, because with the box top Airbnb, you had something happen that would seemingly be a dream for anybody that's starting a YouTube channel or trying to build a social media presence, which is you get retweeted by Jaden Smith, who has a Twitter following of 8 million people, right?
Yes, that was insane. I truly consider myself blessed for that happening, because I don't know of that happening to anybody else.
For it to just be out of the blue too. That's so curious.
Yeah, I woke up one day. I uploaded the box top video, and I thought, man, I've been doing this for 8 months, and I only had like 700 subscribers or something. I'm like, I'm spending way too much time on this. I need to reevaluate if I want to keep doing this. So I took like a 2-week break, and then during that break, somebody messaged me on Instagram. Was like, dude, I just saw your video from Jaden Smith. Loved it. I was like, what do you mean? So I go to his Twitter. I'm like, no way. He tweeted out my link, and there's no context. He didn't like type anything. No context. And I saw in the comments on Twitter is like, why did you retweet this or whatever? I was like, yeah, why did you? So I don't really know why he did, but it got like 10,000 views that night. And then I think YouTube algorithm kind of picked it up from there, and then took it to 3 million.
Oh, wow. Okay. Because it was interesting. I had a really interesting time listening to that follow-up video that I think you said you recorded like 2 days after. So it seems like it took it a little bit of time to really engage with his followers or really pick up some steam, because in the 2 days following that, you said, I think you gained maybe like 5 subscribers on YouTube from it, and a little bit extra views, but nothing that was like, wow, 8 million followers versus like, okay, that got me 5 subscribers, you know?
Yes, I remember thinking that. I was like, man, I'm surprised out of 8 million followers, there wasn't like this big of a jump in the video, but there was a little bit. But yeah, I think it took a couple days for something to happen, pick it up, and then it started rolling.
How many subscribers do you think you got over the next 3 months from that video?
The 3 months, probably like 30 or 40,000, probably 30,000 subscribers. Wow. Right after. But I uploaded. See, ever since then, I was like, okay, well, now my whole new following is for Airbnb and container homes or whatever. So if that's what they want to see, I'll keep doing that. So then I started just solely uploading Airbnb tours after that.
Yeah, and your channel, the consistency in significant views grows right from there. It's like before that, you know, there's a couple changes that happen. Your thumbnails kind of changed a little bit, obviously, because now they're not pictures of a, you know, filming success or Instagram or you in a black shirt, which now I understand. I was going to ask that question, but if you're going for minimalism during those 8 months, it makes sense on a wardrobe stance. But yeah, then you change, and I think your channel really increases. So from that box top or the box top Airbnb, had you planned on going to more Airbnbs, or did you have to say, okay, I've got to kind of get my plans together. I've got to go look at Airbnbs. I got to go out here. I got to figure stuff out.
Yeah, I had to figure it out right after that. I was like, I took it back. I used to upload twice a week, and then I took it back to once a week. And I was just like on Airbnb all day, like saving new spots. You can like single out to only search tiny houses on Airbnb stuff. So I did that. And I was finding a whole bunch of ones kind of like close by-ish to me. And then I went to one, it was like a dome kind of home. And I uploaded that one and it got like 200,000 views or something. So I was like, geez, well, this is it. This is what needs to happen. If I only had like 15,000 subscribers or something and I'm getting way more views, I just keep doing that. And then in the fall, so that was in September or August. And then in the fall, I decided to go out to New York and do like my first extended stay. So I did like 3 or 4 Airbnbs in one trip. And I paid for all those Airbnbs with my own money. And it was pretty expensive. And I told myself, well, if I can make all this money back in all these 4 videos, then I'm just going to keep doing this then, because clearly the money's coming. And then I did it. I spent my money and I went out, and 2 of those videos did really well. One of them was the black A-frame. I think that has like 1 million views right now or something.
979. Don't get ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. You're right there. That's crazy, because that's in a year, 1 million views is a huge, huge, huge milestone.
Yeah, especially with only like 20,000 subscribers. It didn't get 1 million then, but it got, hundreds of thousands then. So I was like, well, this definitely worked out. It looks like I'm going to keep on doing this.
And so when you got to that point, what was your approach to, I guess, organizing things with the Airbnb renters? Like, is there anything that you would have to do on your part ahead of time to say like, hey, I'm going to be filming this, I'm going to be putting it online? What was your procedure or protocol for going and staying in these Airbnbs and documenting everything about them in detail?
Yeah, that turned out to be like the next hardest thing, is figuring out how to contact these Airbnbs and like telling them, hey, look at my channel. I have 50 or 60,000 subscribers and I only post Airbnb tours. So my audience is for you. If you let me come stay here for a free night, then I'll film it and feature on my channel. And that's really what I did.
How receptive are the like, if you're sending, what's the ratio? Are you sending out like 10 emails and getting 1 response, or is it like 100% receptiveness, or they're like, I'll give you a discount? What's that like?
Yeah, so I would say overall it's like maybe 60-40. 60% people say yes and agree, like 40% people aren't interested or get offended that I ask for a free night. But the hard thing is, though, on Airbnb you cannot message your phone number or email or any contact info. So that made it really challenging. So kind of messaging people through Airbnb or trying to find them online. If they have like their own Instagram account, then I'll message them out. And then, yeah, a lot of times people say no, surprisingly, but a lot of times people are really, really happy and like the video and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, like, what's the worst that happens? They get 60,000 people who saw the video about their property.
Exactly. They always say like, man, if I let you stay, I'm losing like $400. I can't do that. But I try to explain. I'm like, well, your place will get shown to thousands and thousands of people. I don't know. Some people don't get it, which is fine. Or some people they're booked out all the time anyway. So they don't want anybody to stay for free. I totally get
Or
it.
it's like the mansion in Indiana, right?
Or yes, that one was a bust.
I had a very fun time laughing at that video, but I was curious if there was any follow-up afterwards. What happened after you posted that video?
That one was one of the first ones I've done, and I booked that one myself. So I spent my own money on that one, and dude, it was a total bust. It was still to this day one of the worst one, by far the worst one. Not even close to what the list. It was like the place was never lived in the past 2 years. It was just decaying. It was bizarre. And the reviews.
At the start of your video, I kind of had the thought, I was a little lenient to believe you, I'm going to be honest, because I see the outside, and you're right, it looks great from the outside. I'm like, there's no way this place can be that bad. Like, there's no way. But the tour that you take throughout the video, I was cracking up, man. I was laughing my butt off. Oh my gosh. The one painting of the guy with like lightning bolts coming out of his fingertips. It's like, there's no way. There's no way these people are serious about this.
I was so surprised when I walked in there. I was like, this is incredible. I'm just gonna have to roast this place in my video. And I'm like, I hope the owner never sees this place. But I mean, this is what people would encounter. I'm giving an honest review, technically.
Yeah. Did you ever hear from the owner?
No.
And at least you paid for that one. It's not like I feel like sometimes there's a stipulation that you have to be positive about ones that might be free, but I do feel like all of yours are very true to form and you're giving an honest review.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, not most of them never have anything bad with them. There's a couple in Tulum, Mexico, and I at the very end of the video I said what I didn't like. Those were the only videos I ever say what I don't like. Yeah. Normally, if I like don't like something, it's so minor, it's like not even worth putting in the video because it doesn't affect the trip at all for other people. So,
is it like architectural design or something that's like the door opens into a sink or something weird that you're like you can't? It's not functional for two people in a bathroom. Yeah, weird things that like. Is that really going to affect you?
Exactly. It's like if I point this out, I'm going to look silly on this.
Yeah.
So just leave it be. Or like the water pressure is kind of like not as good or something like that. It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm sure like the water pressure is difficult to get water pressure in the woods in some of these places. Like
exactly.
Yeah. Doing their best.
Yeah. Some people complain on comments sometimes and don't understand that, you're 2 miles in the woods or something, or 30 or 45 minutes from the nearest attraction or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch. I directly after this, I'm gonna watch the Airbnb mansion tour got scammed video because I didn't watch it and Drew was explaining it to me and I was just dying. So I gotta go back and watch that one.
And even the reviews, I never left a review because I was the only review that would have been like horrible. I don't understand the review part. The guy might have hired people to leave him good reviews.
Yeah, you said that in the video too, that it had like overwhelmingly positive reviews. I don't get it.
An enigma.
Yeah, I saw so many comments on your video saying like it looks like a bunch of like fraternity brothers from college designed and maintained this house, and that was the most accurate description I could give Mike.
Yeah.
That is
totally looks like
that. I've thought about doing a side series of like going to the worst Airbnbs kind of as a joke, but sometimes people post like tents on Airbnb and they're like clearly used and it's so bizarre sometimes. I've seen some weird listings, and
that's a great idea actually. I think that would
I'd like to see that
probably take off. Yeah.
Have you seen Zillow Gone Wild, the Instagram account? Oh, you gotta go
what
follow
is that?
Zillow Gone Wild. It's an Instagram account where they just post ridiculous Zillow finds. Like there was a house for sale and it was just full of mannequins. Like, and it's in the Zillow pictures. Like it's in all of the Zillow pictures. There's like weird mannequins all over. It's great. You're gonna like it. But I think it's just a satire on like the market. And I would love to see. Obviously, the tents are the extreme, but there's some tacky houses on Airbnb, and I'd love to see some series on that. That'd be great.
Yeah, some very tacky places, rainbow, just places don't make sense. It's just weird.
Yeah, but it could be fun. It could be another way to put some satire on the channel itself. So I got a question about we've talked about like how far in advance are you scheduling yourself, and do you do like what you did the first time? Do you go out and do like 5 stays in 5 days, do 5 video films, and then come back for a couple weeks and edit it all? Or how's your scheduling look like?
Yeah, it might look like on social media that I'm always out and about traveling and staying in these places, but I'll do what you just said, book like 5 to 10 in one area and go out for that week and just do one night in each place. It's not like I'm staying there all week, as some people think. It's just one night, or sometimes 2 nights. If it's a bigger place, you need 2 nights. And I'll just go out there for the week and then just fly back to Ohio and then work on my computer all day, every day until I go back out. That's really how it goes right now. And I'm scheduled out right now all the way through July, so 5 or 6 months out. That's pretty far, because a lot of places, a lot of the good Airbnbs are booked out really far in advance. So that means I have to have my schedule really far in advance.
Oh yeah.
And that's just how it plays out.
Yeah. So if you're booked out that far, you kind of have to get yourself all aligned. And so when you get to an Airbnb, is there like a shot list that you're walking with? You know, based on the pictures, here's the kind of style of my videos. Here's my shot list. I'm getting these shots when I get there.
Yeah, there's definitely a routine. I do the same shots at the same time throughout the day. Evening is crucial, so I really have to keep track of when the sun is setting in that area, and because that's when a lot of the juice comes out. So, and then in the mornings is when I film, like the next morning I'll film like the talking part, because I'm all energized and fresh, and I just saw the entire place of me filming it for 6 hours. So I know exactly what it looks like. And yeah, I do those talking head parts just kind of one take, just from memory of what I was filming and kind of the flow of how you'd walk through it. I used to be a real estate videographer and photographer, so I used to do tons and tons of just houses, and that's how I kind of learned, I guess, the good angles of homes.
That makes so much sense, because I was watching the video and trying to keep pace of where you're talking and the walkthrough. And I was asking, like, I always want to ask, like, do you take notes? Like, are you walking around like a police officer with a notepad? Like, oh, I like this thing. But when you're doing the talking head, are you watching the video tour, or you're just doing it straight from memory?
I do it straight from memory, because it's not like a normal person just walking in the home and kind of like admiring it. Since I'm filming it, I'm seeing everything in great detail. And I think that helps a lot with laying out the home in my head. And when I'm filming the B-roll, I'm like, I'm definitely going to talk about this piece. I'm definitely going to talk about this piece, like the specifics. And then the next morning, I just kind of rattle it off.
Wow. So, man, so like, how do you balance the enjoyment of getting to stay in this beautiful Airbnb and the fact that you're there to physically film for 6 hours and then wake up in the morning to record yourself for potentially another hour or 25 minutes or 30? I don't know how long it takes you to do the single take of voiceover. Like, how do you balance that?
Well, I balance it realizing that I'm here for work and not as a leisure thing. Even though I will eventually be done filming and I can enjoy the place, like if they have hot tubs or whatever. But I realize that is always, me and my wife, we always say, man, I wish we could just stay here for like 3 days and just really enjoy this place because it's so cool. But that doesn't happen. I still enjoy it though. But
Yeah. You're in the catch 22 of work travel, because when I joined the company I'm with now, I was so excited to get into outside sales. I was like, oh, I'm gonna travel all the time. I'm gonna get to see all these places, and it is the exact opposite of what you want and expect. You're like, people are like, oh, you get to go to all these places. I'm like, yeah, I get to go. I'm in a car the whole time traveling, meeting people.
Yes.
I don't get to go like, you go to like Seattle. Like, I don't get to go to the Space Needle and the museums. I'm meeting with people. So
exactly.
yeah.
A lot of times there's lots of cool attractions in the area, and I don't even have time to go out and do that. So a lot of people, like my friends or family, think it's kind of just like a vacation, which I mean, it is to me, but it's still a lot of work. So
yeah. Especially when you're on a timetable of, I've got 5 basically appointments in 5 days. I've got to be kind of on the ball to get this going. And
yeah.
Do you ever book yourself the last day 2 nights and just say, hey, I just did 5, I'm going to relax with my wife and hang out? Or
sometimes we do. Me and my wife do that. We'll stay an extra day or 2 and just kind of hang out in the area and check it out for ourselves. Or, if it's a bigger place and I'm there for like 2 nights, I'm not filming for 2 entire full days. So I'll have some time to go out and enjoy a little bit of the area. But even then, filming, which is, I think, physical work, and then going out and exploring, which is physical. So sometimes I just need a break. So sometimes I'll just lounge at the Airbnbs.
yeah, get to enjoy everything about it. So when you're filming, you're now you started kind of filming your brother was in some of the videos early on, and now your wife is helping you. So, or is it some of the shots like in I think it's in Joshua Tree, you're walking and someone's filming you, they're walking backwards, I'm guessing.
Okay.
But some of them seem to be like a shot on a tripod.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, what kind of equipment are you bringing with you to film these? And is your wife filming you, or is it your brother or friend, or how does that work?
Yeah, sometimes when I brought my friend, they would I'd have them kind of hold the camera and like film me and see if that worked out a little bit. Or now I bring my wife, and in the beginning I kind of had her film me do stuff, but I found out that it's just a lot quicker and easier if I just kind of had the camera on a tripod. So now then I have to think creatively, well, how can these shots be, good and creative on a tripod still? So I just think of that process. Or now I've kind of started filming my wife do things in the home. So it's me doing the talking head, but my wife kind of walking through the home and stuff. And then I can get some really beautiful shots that way. So it's kind of just like an experiment of just different shots and angles throughout, the past year or so.
So you have, just from listening to what you've been saying, right? You have this obviously comes from the background that you've done with videography, but you have a very it sounds like an educational background. Like you've taken many classes on all the items to become a professional videographer, professional video maker. But did you study that in community college? Because you never ended up going to get the degree, which would have given you I guess the credit within the film world. But it seems like your videos are professionally made.
Thank you. But yeah, I think with videography and photography, you don't really need to get school training. I think a lot of it comes through just experience and being out and doing it yourself. And over the years, you'll get better and master it yourself. And I think that's one of the beautiful things of videography and photography is that anybody can do it if they really want to. So just being out there and being a freelance and shooting all the time, and even being on like commercial sets and stuff or movie sets, it really helps you realize how things work, and seeing other people's minds and seeing how they work. It's just being in the field is 100% the best way.
Yeah, and obviously I'm not the only. Oh, go ahead, Drew. You can.
No, you can keep going.
So obviously I'm not the only one who thinks this, because you got picked up for your own mini series on the design network, Tiny BNB. So you're doing this, you're creating these tours. Was it ever the thought that you would be picked up by somewhat of a network to have your own mini series? Like, how was that the experience?
Yeah, no, I never thought I would be. I guess in the back of my head, the dream would be to have Chip and Joanna Gaines on HGTV or something like that. Like that would be really awesome. But the design network reached out to me, and they just wanted to, purchase my YouTube videos and re-edit them and redistribute them for a show, Tiny BNB. And at first, I actually told him no at first, and because I don't know why. I thought it was like, I didn't think it was real. I thought it was too good to be true. I'm like, there's no way. There's some catch. I'm like, I don't even want to deal with this. So then they came back and they're really pressuring me, which I'm glad they did. So, and then that's how that started. And I've really enjoyed working with the Design Network, and season 1's done, and hopefully it'll be season 2 this year.
Well, don't underestimate yourself, because I believe Dude Dad, he's a YouTube channel, and if you're listening, we'd love to have you on. He just got picked up by Chip and Joanna.
Did he really?
Yeah, to do a series, and he has 270,000 subscribers. So if that's the goal, man, put it out there, because it is totally achievable.
That is insane. Yeah, I've followed that guy actually, and I didn't know he got picked up by Chip and Joanna Gaines. That's good for him. I'm proud. Yeah, I love them and what they do. I've been to Waco several times, which is where they're based. I love their work. So that would be cool to be on actual like a TV network. The Design Network, I think, is on Roku and like Samsung TV. So
yeah, well, put it out there, man, because I think the content that you put on to and you have a resume now, right? You have, even if it's a pseudo, it's a network, but it's not like a, you're not getting it in your cable package like you are with Chip and Joanna's channel. So,
yeah, true. Very nice.
You have your own, you have a network base of what to do. You have a resume for it. So I think that is totally achievable of a goal for you. And you have the subscriber base to prove that you're there. So I look forward to seeing you on Chip and Joanna's channel. I will watch that.
That'd be super cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like the design network too. But yeah, that'd be really cool.
Drew, you had a question.
Actually, it was pretty related to what you were asking. I was going to ask, since you have begun focusing more on Airbnbs aside from getting free nights at these awesome places, what other benefits or connections or new pathways in your career have you found from that? It sounds like obviously the design network is one of them, but I don't know if there are any others you might be able to talk about.
Yeah, I would say just the freedom of kind of working for myself and creating my own small team and really kind of just being the boss of what I can produce. So it's kind of just all on me, I guess, which is a nice feeling, but it's just a very scary feeling. I enjoy that though. So I think the freedom of what YouTube offers and what videography offers is what I really enjoy. And I think what a lot of people seek after, and it's great. And I would highly suggest it to anybody that really wants to try it. But no other huge partnerships or anything like that yet.
Okay. Oh. In our pre-call, you mentioned something about consulting, right? Consulting with Airbnb or rental owners.
Yes. Yeah. I am right now very soon going to be offering consulting for Airbnb hosts and future Airbnb hosts on how you can maximize your Airbnb to get as many guests in there and be as booked out as possible. Because I think there's definitely a way. I've been to over 80 rentals or whatever, and some places are booked out 2 years in advance. Some places are booked out 60-50% of the month that they're in. So I think there's definitely a way to do it.
And would you say there's distinct differences and distinct similarities between the properties that are booked for 2 years versus the properties that have gaps for 6 or 2 months?
Yeah, I definitely think there is. The people that are booked out for many years in advance sometimes are really incredible stays, but sometimes, being booked out, 6 months or 9 months in advance, a lot of times they're just remodeled or just like the typical home that you would see. It doesn't have to be some fantastic tree house or anything like that, but it's just what can you offer in your space and how can you maximize your space to attract guests. And I think that is the goal, not trying to dream up of the coolest, weirdest looking spot. Mm-hmm. And some people nail that on the head, and some people I think could be fixed and tweaked a little bit to attract an audience that makes them want to go.
I think one that for me nailed it. It was in the Hocking Hills. It was the video we talked about on our pre-call of the epic cabin with natural waterfall with natural swimming hole. That to me, like, said this is a destination that no matter where you are, it's kind of like a Michelin star, right? That to me had the Michelin star. I want to travel to that location to stay at that place.
Yes, that place specific is people go there to check out how incredible that specific stay is. And it is one of one in the world. I don't know anywhere else in the world where you can get your own waterfall swimming hole at your Airbnb or rental or whatever. It is insane, utterly insane.
Yeah.
So they're booked out like a year and a half in advance or 2 years in advance or something. And I understand why.
And you were the first guest?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was the first guest there, and I went out there to shoot the video and shoot some photos as well, and the video did really well on YouTube. People really like the place.
I mean, it makes total sense. I watched the video, I think twice. I don't know, man. But that is an interesting kind of dynamic where you could bring a benefit to consult, but also you get the benefit of potentially being the first person or releasing a video about that, where it's a win-win for everyone. They get your knowledge, you get a video, and they get exposed. I guess it's a win-win-win 2 wins for the owner, 1 win for you. But yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. I look forward to seeing how that kind of comes together for you.
Yeah, I'm excited to consult. And I really like, designing spaces and being a visionary for spaces and helping people out like that. So I think that'd be really fun. But a lot of people think that these videos are only beneficial for me. Like a lot of hosts kind of say that if they say no. And, I try to provide something that's beneficial for the host, the viewers, and myself in the back end. So I try to provide something very beneficial for everybody.
It comes across that way for sure. And it's extremely enjoyable to watch. I think how we stumbled on your channel was shipping container, the box hop, and then you can just easily, I say this too often on our show, but it's truly there's a reason why we bring the guests on, because Drew and I both look at the channel and we're like, yeah, this is easy to watch, easy to do the research into it. So you make it good. Design is another thing that we didn't talk about. So where did your love and kind of desire to renovate homes, to design things, to look at things with that architectural design kind of eye, where did that come from?
Yeah, I think that all came from being at all these cool Airbnbs and realizing that, man, there's these really cool spots that people really desire to go to. And there's a reason that people desire to go to them. So I started, thinking about, why is that? What about this place is way more special than just like a house that you might go visit? And there's definitely key differences. And I really started to enjoy that. So now I have a house that me and my wife have been remodeling over the past like 6 months or so. And it's basically done. And that's been really, really fun. And just looking at other homes and getting inspiration from them and just seeing the beauty and creativity behind them. It's endless. It's just like an artwork, I guess.
Yeah. And so I was just going to ask a question about what's your dream design, but it seems like you're in the middle of making your dream design happen.
Yeah. Well, with this renovation, we bought it to flip it. So it was kind of being on the, I wasn't going all out on it, but now we're moving into the house. So at the very end of the renovation, we started adding things that we would really enjoy that are like not practical just for a flip. But hopefully right after this, we will be building a home. Or actually, I'd like to build my own Airbnb first and then a home.
Good, because you need to wait 2 years before you sell that house, so you get capital gains taxes.
Exactly. No tax.
Yep. Yeah. You don't want to get hit by the tax, man. My wife and I have talked a lot about flipping homes, and I am very nervous to do it for the same reason that you just went through. Because once you go through the design process, then there's a point where if you hit, one of the forks in the road, and you're like, we could put this shower head in here. We could renovate this thing like this, but this isn't for maximizing profit. This is for you.
And that's a painful decision to make. It's like, man, this would be so much better, but this shower head makes more sense.
Yeah.
And that's painful.
Yeah. Or just like, hey, do we rip out the shower? Or do we just put a liner in and call it a day? Because we're going to be living here. Yeah. It's a tough, I feel the sentiment for falling down that path. I'm nervous to do it as well. So I think one thing that we didn't even get to really talk about is you have 129 videos visible. We've heard about the hidden ones that Drew and I would love to watch because we really did enjoy the beginnings of the channel. 257,000 subscribers, 26 million views. You have 4 videos with over 1 million views. One of them, which is knocking on the door, which I feel bad I gave you a little hard time for. It's going to be there very shortly. I honestly think that you have another 4 videos that are really, truly on the brink of getting to that million.
Yeah.
But what was it like the first time, right? Because some of the videos that everyone's beginning are low numbers. What was it like when you first logged on and you saw 200,000 views, 400,000 views, 800,000 views, and then it click over to 1 million?
Man, it was really crazy. I was always on YouTube, refreshing it, checking it, seeing how much the views go up, and each day seeing how many views I got that day. And I was like, man, this is it. This is like, I remember specifically thinking, this is the moment that I've been waiting for. And this is the moment that every YouTuber waits for. And I was trying to like really soak it in and see what it feels like. And I was like, man, I'm truly experiencing it. This is what it's like. And it was like, basically a high that you always try to chase, I guess, on YouTube ever since. So it was really awesome, really fun. And that video is still my #1 most viewed video. So,
but not by much.
Not by much.
In the grand scheme of it, it's you've got like your top 4 are a serious contender for a top 4 on almost any channel on YouTube.
Yeah. So, it really blows my mind every time one video really shoots off like that and gets some views. I was always wondering, like, you know, what made that specific video make that happen? And that's also a fun thing to figure out or think about.
Yeah, you're chasing that dream of what is the secret sauce behind a million view video. So the other major milestone that people achieve, and that you have, is getting the plaque. So what was it like when you crossed that major threshold of, you know, you have one of the quintessential videos of thanking your first 100 subscribers. And we were talking about this before we started.
Oh yeah.
Even what people don't realize is getting 100 subscribers is very difficult to do. Getting 1,000 subscribers is a huge milestone. And why that is because you can only get, how many friends and family do you have to subscribe to your channel? It's breaking the shell of saying, hey, I had some random person on the internet say they want to subscribe to my channel. So you thank your first 100, but what was it like when you crossed the 100,000 threshold?
That was something just totally else. I was like, man, there's 100,000 people that decided to click subscribe to my channel. It was truly humbling, and I was very, very honored. But I had my eyes set on the plaque for a very long time because I really wanted that. And I thought, you know, not like I need to validate myself or anything, but I was like, man, this worked out for me and this is working for me. And I was like really proud, and I was really honored that people liked my videos and that I could provide something that people enjoy watching on YouTube, which is my favorite thing to do, is watch YouTube. So I was like, I'm a part of the community, I guess, just like everybody else. It was awesome.
Speaking of which, what are some of your favorite YouTube channels overall, or some that are currently grabbing your attention?
Yeah, I love PewDiePie. You know, he's the king, I would say. He's pretty great. I really like Casey Neistat and Peter McKinnon, but I also like, you know, the informative channels like Wendover Productions or Half as Interesting. Those are not even in my genre of what I do, but I love them. Or Chris Ramsey, he's a magician. That's a really random channel.
Yeah.
Well, that's the beauty of YouTube, is like, it's not, it broke this whole dynamic of like growing up and you're stuck to, I don't know, 50 channels, 60 channels. And then there was like 200 channels and 1,000 channels. And you're like, I could never watch anything. But now there's got to be close to like a couple billion channels on YouTube. But you truly can find whatever you want on YouTube.
You can, yes. Anything you want. And you can post whatever you want. You can make yourself whatever. A lot of people ask me, like, how do you become an Airbnb reviewer? Well, I'm like, well, with the beauty of YouTube, you just got to review Airbnbs. And I guess you're an Airbnb reviewer. How do you? I don't know what else to say besides that. I mean, you can do anything on YouTube, and then you can become anything. So
it's the truest statement a YouTuber has ever said. It really is, man. With that being said, part of community, I have 2 questions. One will be our final set, which will be our subscribers, but like the community itself is strong, but there's a dark lining to having YouTube open. And what we've found through talking to the people who have been on the channel so far is once they break their community number, whatever their subscriber base is at the time, once they break that in views, it tends to bring in some negative comments. So how do you deal with the negative comments, and how do you deal with breaking that threshold of your current subscriber base?
Yeah, dealing with negative comments is, I think it's a fun thing to do. I don't let them get to me at all. I think because a lot of them are just silly. Like, they don't watch the whole video and they comment something that I mentioned at the end of the video, and it's just like, well, I'm sorry, dude. You're just wrong. So I don't get a lot of mean comments about like myself. Nobody really makes fun of me. They might make fun of the way I talk or anything, which I know sometimes that's true. So I can take a joke, I would say. A lot of times they comment bad about the place, and that's not really hurting me. So I kind of like joke along with it, or they're just totally wrong, and then other people comment on them and just like say they're wrong, and it's fun to me. I don't get a lot of hate comments, which is really nice. So
yeah,
a few times it does happen.
I could see if you did the tacky Airbnbs, but you did it like in the artistic style that you did today, and you made it like a serious kind of review of an Airbnb. People would be like, "Oh my God, this is terrible!" Like this, what is going on? That would be amazing. That would be a gold mine for negative comments. But no, I could see, I can understand why you're not necessarily getting super hateful comments. So, but it is
most common.
Go ahead.
Yeah, one of the most common ones is when I say like treehouse Airbnb or something, but it's technically a house on stilts around the trees. I get so many comments about that. This isn't a treehouse; it's a house on stilts. Why would you say that? I get that so many times. Or one before, in the very beginning, I used to wear my shoes inside the house, and I've gotten countless comments of people complaining that I wear shoes inside of these homes. So I don't wear shoes inside of them anymore.
Wow. I wouldn't have found that to be such an amazing pain point, but I can understand why. But yeah, it's
it's funny.
You have you can blame that TV show Treehouse, whatever, the guy who builds tree houses.
Treehouse Masters.
Yeah, Treehouse Masters. Because he truly changed the dynamic of like tree houses. Everything that he builds is a house on stilts around a tree.
Yeah, exactly.
Credit.
I just explain, if it feels like a tree house and it looks like one, then it is.
Yeah. If you're up in the canopy of trees.
Yeah.
Basically a tree house.
Some people are funny though.
So we've got a couple of your followers on Instagram responded, and I always say this, and I apologize in advance if I butcher anyone's name. It's not me. I'm just sorry. So I think this is a good one. Savannah M. Kelly. If you started other YouTube channels, what would they be?
That's hilarious. That's my wife.
Oh my God. I didn't even put that together. Dang.
That's hilarious. As soon as you said that, I was like, oh, that's funny.
I didn't even put that together. I was like reading it. Man. Okay, you can answer it for her, but she has to repost this. She has to put that out there.
Thank you, Savannah. Here she is.
Hey, Savannah, thank you for the question. We appreciate your
I love it.
What channels would I start? I always admire the YouTubers that can gather an audience for themselves. Like they can do whatever and people follow them for them. Like PewDiePie or Cuddyco or even like Mr. Beast, people, subscribe to him for him. So I'd try to start a channel, similar to that, something where I could upload stuff every day, which right now that formula is stuff where you sit kind of on your computer, because that's just the best way to pump out videos every day. But that really builds a strong community, which is what I enjoy. And that's why I follow those guys, because I like them. So something like that. Or with my wife, we're having a baby at the end of this year. So maybe like a family fun vlogging channel. That'd be cool. I like those channels as well.
No way. Congratulations.
Yeah. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Thanks. Get ready, dude. Sleep as much as you possibly can. I'm telling you, I have a 1-year-old. Get some sleep.
Oh man, I love my sleep.
Yeah. But you know what? Every sleepless night is well worth it. It is the funnest. Drew got to meet my son, which was awesome. And he's a kook, man. The kid doesn't sleep well, but you're gonna get all these different things. And the one thing I'll tell you, and I'm definitely guilty of doing this right now, is you're gonna get a million things of advice from people. Just do whatever you and your wife decide. Like say, oh, that's great. Like, yeah, that's awesome. Thanks so much for the advice.
Yeah.
As well as warn your wife, random people are going to start talking to her. Like grocery stores. She's going to walk down the aisle and be like, oh my God, you know what? You should get these. They're good for pregnant women. What the heck? So
Yeah.
But dude, the day that baby comes is the single greatest day of your life.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I think it'll be really fun.
I'd love to see the baby version of what an Airbnb should look like, child-proofing your Airbnbs.
Now that I'm having one, I've always thought none of these places really support babies, so I don't know what I'm going to do.
But, you start to look at it differently, because I was looking at your channel and watching a couple of videos, and now I'm thinking, wow, this would be a great home for a family vacation, because there's a master bedroom, there's 2 twin beds, so you could bring your kids, they have beds to sleep in, they have a room to stay together, there's activities within, there's walking trails that are okay for toddlers or things like that. So your perspective changes. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know this person as well.
Yeah, that one's actually my mom. Thank you.
It could be. Boy BUI_basics asks, what's your favorite Airbnb you've stayed at so far?
I have 2. One is definitely the cliffs with that waterfall. That is by far the coolest place ever. I could stay there a whole week and be really fun. But that one sleeps like 18 people. And then on the opposite end, there's a Firefly Treehouse down in Alabama. That spot only sleeps 2 people. But that one is also my favorite. So definitely check out those 2 places.
So did you, with that one being said, did you guys figure out how to use the water hot tub, the fire powered hot tub? That's the one
in
Alabama.
One?
The one in Alabama had, I don't know if it's the same one. There was a house in Alabama that you guys stayed at that had a fire warmed hot tub outside.
Yeah,
different house.
Yeah, that one might be a different house, but the wood fire hot tub is definitely a really cool aspect. But the one in Alabama, I do not believe had a hot tub, but
bummer.
They had a lot of other amenities. 40 acres. The treehouse was on 40 acres for you and cool. Your wife or whoever. So it was awesome.
That's a lot of square footage to
it's a lot of space.
Well, hey man, I look forward to watching your channel grow, and I very much am sending you some Chip and Joanne, and hope that you get on that channel and follow that dream, man. And good luck with baby on the way. If you ever, I don't know, I'm just another dad. If you ever had any questions of what the hell's going on, I can answer it, but if you need someone to bounce off of, you have my phone number. It's in my signature. So.
Well, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. I can't tell you if it's right or wrong, but I can tell you what we did. I appreciate the time today. This has been an amazing conversation.
Thanks, Levi.
It's been really fun.
This has been really fun. Thank you so much for having me. I love your podcast idea, by the way. It's a brand new idea, I think, to me, at least.
Well,
thank you. Thanks for saying that.
We appreciate that. Yeah. And this is just the brainchild of Drew and I following our passions. We literally started it, like we said, we were watching GMM and we were talking on GMM on another podcast that we started. And we're like, why would someone like Levi Kelly post himself on YouTube? And this is why.
There we go.
Yeah.
Do you guys know Colin and Samir on YouTube?
We do. Yeah.
You guys remind me. I like them a lot. You guys remind me of them.
I appreciate that.
I don't know if you like them or not. But.
Yeah, we do very much. We do. That's a great compliment, and I appreciate that very much. So everyone who's made it this far, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate every one of you. Every one of your social medias, Levi, will be down in the description below or in the show notes. So make sure you go and follow him. Make sure you watch some of the Airbnbs, and if you like them, he almost always has a link to a discount or to that exact location. So check them out, stay in some of these beautiful homes, and get out there and travel. Enjoy your vacation time with your family and friends.
Yes, go check out the Airbnbs. They're all super cool.
Yeah, and look forward to some different content in 2021 from Levi Kelly. I can see some new stuff coming. So I appreciate the time. Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.